Hey up, it's Steve from the Old Yorkshire Geek, and it's time to review Andor, Season 1, Episode 8, Narika 5. Have I got that right? Whatever. It's a place. We see it on screen pretty shortly. So, before we get into it, let's have the intro, and then we can have a look at this week's episode. Right, I'm back. If you remember last week, Andor, it was the aftermath of the big heist on Aldani. They got away with 80 million credits. Everybody died except Cassian and Vel. Is it Velalev? It's Vel, isn't it? And Cinta. But then Vel and Cinta were kind of given orders to track down Cassian and basically eliminate him because he knows who Luthen Rail is. So they're out looking for him, but he's sodded off. He's gone. He's left. He went back to Ferrix, where his adoptive mother Marva was, and he tried to get her to go away with him, but she wouldn't go. She wanted to stay, become part of the rebellion against the Empire. So he left, and he took another name, Keith Garger or something like that, as an assumed name, which kind of reminded me of Grief Karga from The Mandalorian. Is there a connection? Probably not. But he took that name, and then he got himself arrested for doing nothing, basically for looking suspicious, for acting suspiciously. And he got arrested and sentenced to 6 years. So he protested, obviously. But this is how this latest episode begins. We see Cassian. He's on I can't remember the name of the planet he were on. He were on some planet we'd never been before, which were filmed in Lancashire, apparently, at the town called Cleveland's, where I've never been, but my mother used to like going there, bless her. She used to like going to Cleveland's. But apparently we're filmed there. But it's not filmed there now. They're in some, imperial detention centre, and they're being marched out to waiting shuttles, and they get told which shuttle to go to. In this episode, Cassian spends a lot of time looking confused, as though he doesn't know what to do, and that's his expression for the episode, like, and not doing anything else, pretty much. So here we go. So they head to these shuttles here, and they'll get taken to the prison facility, and we'll see that in a moment. But then obviously we cut to this is Cyril Khan at his in his cubicle at I forgot what they call it now. It's some standards bureau, something like that. But he's doing not very much. But he gets interrupted from his work by a couple of ISB agents, and they want to talk to him. Here they come. So something's up. Then we cut back to the shuttle. They get told to take the shoes off. They'll never see the shoes again while they're incarcerated. So the shoes are gone. They take the shoes off, and then there's like some sort of magnetic locks and the cuffs attached to the chairs. So they're on the way anyway. There they are. And again, there's a lot. It's very atmospheric. Is that the word? Is that the word? But you do feel that you're in this world. In my opinion, anyway, it's very well shot, and there's a lot of different environments to go to. We're not just on Tatooine like we usually have with a lot of other places. We're going to different places this time, and it's all very well done. And I bet it cost a lot of money. And they've done a good job. Unfortunately, not a lot of people's watching it, apparently. It's typical, isn't it? But anyway, this is... we found out she's a lieutenant. She says lieutenant, she doesn't say lieutenant. Lieutenant Oh God, I forgot her name. Dedra Miro. Is it Miro? Dedra Miro. I haven't got the cast list open. I forgot. So we'll muddle through. Anyway, she's talking to Cyril. They've got him in a room, and she's asking about the statement he gave to Supervisor Blevins, is the fella she's replaced. Remember the fella in the last episode, the chap that had a complaint against Dedra, but it kind of backfired, and Major Partigan gave Dedra an area of Blevins' control for her own, and then told her to watch her back. Anyway, she's asking Cyril about the statement he gave to Supervisor Blevins. What can he add? And he says, I don't know what I can add. And she said, well, you signed it. He said, well, he was forced to sign it. And he tells her that he told Blevins all he knew about, Cassian Andor and all that, and that he wanted justice for the officers that were killed on Ferrix, and that he saw Luthen Rail, but just fleetingly, an older chap in a cloak. He could have been a Jedi, couldn't he? Is he? We will see. Probably not. So he says, he's trying to clear his name, and then it seems that she don't want to hear any of that, and then just leaves him. So is he going to get included? You get the suspicion that he's going to be brought in on the investigation, but just not yet. Right, the ship arrives. We're gonna get the name. Hang on. There we go. Narkina 5. What did I say? Probably something completely different. But that's the name of the episode. And I think it's this moon here. They're heading to this moon. It's obviously orbiting some sort of gas giant. Bit like Yavin 4. This is Narkina 5. And it's got lots of oceans, and there they are, the view out of the shuttle window. They see these facilities on the ocean. A bit like the raft in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But there's some sort of, penal facilities. Again, it's very well done. There they are. But it's not all ocean, as you can see in the background there. There's land. But these, I don't know if they're floating or if they're anchored to the surface. I don't know. But anyway, they get taken to their, prison orienteering. But before that, we cut to the ISB on Coruscant. We see this is the, I forgot to call it now, the thing that Cassian, were trying to sell to Luthen. It's an Imperial, I forget what they call it, Star Path or something, unit. I don't even know what it is. Is it some sort of navigational aid? I have no idea. But this is it Colonel? I forgot his name now. Wolf, somebody or other. It were in A New Hope, and everybody's trying to pretend that, it were him, and nobody really knew. Apart from, the proper Star Wars nerds. No offence, but there are some. But 99.9% of people have no idea who this chap is, but he's in charge, and Dedra's pleading her case about, it's not just about, things going missing and things being stolen. She thinks it's part of the rising rebellion against the Empire, and they're, acquiring equipment and stuff like that. And it's all connected. And Major Partigan kind of sides with her. He seems to have a bit of a soft spot for Dedra. But this officer, he's saying, well, keep on it, but I don't think he's really convinced. Anyway, so that's what happens there. Right, back at the prison, back at Narkina 5, they're told to put their hands on their heads. Remember, they've no shoes on the bare feet. They mustn't wear socks. There must be no socks in the Star Wars universe. They're all barefoot. They're told to put their hands on their heads. And for some reason, Cassian can't put his hands on it. See this chap here? Got his fingers locked. Whenever they tell them to put their hands up, Cassian, that's as far as he goes. Well, you can't see, can you? Hang on, well, never mind. Hang on, just let me move that out of the way. There you go. It's as far as he goes like that, and he never puts his hands fully back. Why? Is that because he's always prepared for action? I don't know. Or is there some problem with his shoulders? No idea. No idea. So, to go through this orienteering, and we find out that the floors are they're electrified. These officers arrive, and they've got these big heavy boots on. And the floors are electrified, so when they get punished, there's 3 levels of pain that is induced. And I think the top level, I think, just kills you instantly. So that's how they keep them in line. So they take them down below to... here we go, she's Dedra's back with Cyril again. This is where he's pleading his case that, he wants to clear his name, but, she seems like she don't want anything to do with it. There he is. Could it be any more tight? It's like his skin's gonna unravel. But I think he's going to end up working with her. I think she's going to bring him on board. It doesn't happen in this episode, but you get that feeling. They're going to take him back to his cubicle. But I think they'll be pulling him back out again because of what he knows. Because he knows what Cassian looks like. He knows what he's searching for. So anyway, they've got Cassian in his prison jumpsuit. They're taking him down to his workstation. And we get the impression here that they're kind of overworked, these prison guards. The guard that's supposed to be escorting Cassian down is late, and he makes some excuse that something were wrong or whatever. So you get the impression it's not running as smoothly as you might think. So that'll probably come into it later. I imagine there's going to be some sort of jailbreak down the line, not in this episode, but you get that feeling because we see a familiar face. If you remember Rogue One, we see somebody familiar soon. We also see another familiar face in a moment in the form of Andy Serkis. In a minute, I've gone too far already, I think. Have I? No, I haven't. Right, we see Andy Serkis. There he is. You see the back of his head. There he is. He's he's a prisoner, but he's in charge of this room, and there must be lots of different rooms on this station, on this facility, and they're all working. They're all put to work, making things obviously for the Empire. Gave me the impression that the reason the Empire's grown so quickly is because they're using a lot of prisoners to build all their stuff. Rather than it's basically slave labour in it, but the prisoners on trumped up charges, probably a lot of them. They said they do hear that. They ask him what he did, and he said nothing. Says yeah, we hear a lot of that, which is probably true in this case. All prisoners say they're innocent, don't they? But it's probably true in this case. Anyway, so he's in charge. He's a tough guy, and he's doing as he's told. He says there's only 200 and something days left of his sentence, and he wants to, get it over with and get out. So he's doing as he's told. So he sets him to work on one of the tables, and this is where we meet the familiar face from Rogue One. There might be a couple more that I didn't recognise, I didn't notice, but I noticed one in particular. I'm not going to see him. I know his face. I've seen him somewhere before, but I can't think where. But that's not who I'm thinking of. We hear the name Melshi, and that's him there. If you remember, Melshi was on the Scarif mission in Rogue One. He played a major part in that film. Obviously died with everybody else. Spoilers. But there he is. So obviously are they going to escape together, Melshi and Cassian, and end up with the rebels? We'll see. Or will they just cross paths again later? I don't know. But there we go. The first meeting of Cassian and Melshi. Anyway, so they're all set to work, and each table, has a set amount of work that they've got to accomplish, and if they don't do it, they get punished. They get zapped. And they're not doing very well at the moment because they're being a man down, and Cassian just stands about going, I don't know what I'm doing. I shouldn't be here. But eventually he starts working. Anyway, they end up, there goes, they set about work. Look, they're working on big chunks of Imperial equipment. I don't know what it is. Bits of TIE fighters and stuff, probably. I don't know. It could be robot parts. I have no idea. Anyway, so they're doing all that. They're assembling things. Right, so we go to Coruscant, and good old Mon Mothma's having another party, and she's talking to, that's her husband, by the way, Perrin, but she's talking to, I forgot his name, is it Tay? The banker chap from last episode that she tried to get in, into the rebellion, and she kind of succeeded because he said that, he didn't like the Empire. So, but is he gonna betray her? I don't know. But anyway, she's having another party. She's talking to Tay a lot. He's getting suspicious, is Perrin, I think. And we find out that they're from Chandrilla, and she became a senator at 16, and they were married at 15. So, crikey. Very progressive, eh? Unbelievable. Hollywood, eh? There's that Tay chap. So she's going to talk to him. And she talks to some other I think the senators, some other people. And they're talking about the Emperor. Oh, that's a daughter that... she's saying Tay seems to be there a lot these days. So she sees him a lot. So we get the impression that Tay's visiting Mon Mothma's house quite regularly. I suspect Perrin might think they're having an affair. But we'll see how that turns out. Right, she meets some other people and they start talking about the Emperor. See, I've gone too far now, look. It might be in the next bit. Yeah, in a bit they talk about the Emperor and how he's doing a lot of speeches, and then there's this new public order act that they're bringing in. So they talk about that. There's Cassian looking bemused like he does through all the episode. They go into their cubicles where they sleep, the bunks. That's what we saw. Hang on, I'll go back again. We saw, for Pete's sake. See, I can't see it now. We saw it in the, there we go, in the trailer, remember? And I said, are they like clones? Is it like, because it reminded me of where the clones were made. Camino, it reminded me of Camino. But it ain't, it's on this prison facility. Right, so they're heading to the sleeping areas. Meanwhile, back at the party, I think the senators, they're talking about, these senators are business people, I don't know, but they're talking about the Emperor and how he's bringing out this public order act. It's a bit like, it's curtailing freedoms and people are getting arrested left, right and centre. And probably sent off to these places where they're building things for the Empire, which is why probably the Imperial fleet's growing, exponentially and all that. Right, so they're here, the cubicles, and he gets put in his cubicle. Everything's there for him. His food, and comes through little tubes, and he says if you do well, you get some flavour in your food. So anyway. So that's that. Tay's disappeared. She's gone looking for him, but he's buggered off somewhere. But I don't think we see him again this episode, so maybe he has been disappeared. I don't know. We'll see. I think he'll be back. So, where are we? There we go. So they're setting to work. They're doing their fixing, assembling things for the Empire. And I think that chap that we just saw. See, I bet I can't find him again now. They start falling behind because they have it's like a defective piece that won't, a pin won't attach or something like that. And this chap here is a British actor. We've seen him in a lot of things, but I don't know his name. I can't remember his name. But we've seen him in lots of things over here. I think he thinks it's his fault that something's going wrong, and it gets fixed eventually. But I think they lose time. But anyway, so then we cut to FedEx. This is Marv, and she's getting ill now, apparently. Cassian, she didn't fit as a fiddle last week, didn't she, more or less? But we find out that she's having problems. She's had a fall, because she's, an elderly lady. She's had a fall, she was brought home, and apparently she was hanging out by the hotel, and she was trying to find some tunnels or something under the hotel so the rebellion could get in and, do rebellion things. The Empire would call them terrorists, wouldn't they? But Binks and her big friend, whose name I can't remember, they're trying to help her. But obviously I think she's fading away, is Marva, and they're asking, where's Cassian? And, he's gone, they don't know where he is. So Binks, she needs to find out where Cassian's gone. Because, Marva's not well. She's basically Cassian's mother, isn't she? So she goes to the scrapyard where she works, the junkyard. And remember, she had that communications device on top of that chimney or whatever it was. And she needs to use that. She's going to get in touch with Luthen and see if he knows where Cassian is. Here we see Vel and Cinta. We find out they're in a relationship. I might have said that a few episodes ago. You got that impression that they were in a relationship. So again, Star Wars being all progressive. But going to Cinta, the mission comes first. Because apparently, and also like Vel, I think she's from a rich family, and Cinta sort of like implies that she's just, she's more rebelling against her rich family than she is against the Empire. Which, is said to be cold. That were cold. This is Binks. Is it Binks or Bix? Whatever her name is. She's gorgeous anyway. I'm very taken with this young actress. I don't know her name, but she's super pretty. There we go. She's trying to contact Luthen. So meanwhile, in Luthen's shop, it's his assistant that's picking up the message. She's not replying. And Luthen asks, what's going on, and she says it's the Binks on FedEx. She's asking about Cassian. His mother's ill, and she wants to know where he is. But they decide that no, it's too risky, and the cut that line of communication. They cut her off. So I think that's permanently cut off now. So Binks isn't very happy about that. Where are we here now? This is Coruscant, isn't it? So we're back on. Yes. Luthen, telling me in names. Luthen hops in his ship and heads out. Leaves Coruscant, and he's going somewhere. Right, here we go. The floor's red. That means if you step on it, I think you're killed instantly. When it's white, it's safe. When it starts flashing white, you've got 30 seconds to get into your cubicle before it turns red, and you're killed. Anyway, one of the chaps, I think it's the fellow I pointed out earlier, he basically jumps out of his cubicle and kills himself. Because it's prison. There he is. It reminded me a bit of, there's a film, an old film, not that old, but I think it was from 1979, a British film that was notoriously banned by the BBC called Scum, and it showed the harshness of the youth penal system in the UK at the time, and kids kill themselves, don't they? And this is what's happening here. He can't take it. He's had enough, so he commits the S word. So. And apparently, a lot of them say he'll be there all night, stinking out the place. Not very empathic of them, is it? But obviously, the guards don't care. They'll get him in the morning. So, right, so back on FedEx, there's a bit of a commotion. And the junkyard where Binks works, there she is, the lovely Binks. Stormtroopers have arrived and some officers, and they've arrested the chap who she works for. They're taking him away, and then they want her. They want Binks, and they said to her, they call out her name, and then she's there, and they see her. Oh, you're her, aren't you? And I think she like kind of denies it, and then says, "Well, you look a lot like her." He's looking at her pad. So anyway, she runs this chappie, this big fella. I've forgotten his name. He tells her to run, so he tries to stall the stormtroopers, but it don't work, and they catch her quite quickly. There she is running. She gets captured. Right. Luthen has gone to this planet. It might say what the name of the planet is. Let's see. But there's a familiar face. But see if we can see the name of the planet. So you've got to just get it right, haven't you? Here we go. Is it going to show us the name of the planet? There we go. Segra Milo. That's the name of the planet. They get there and we see two tubes. What's his face? There he is. Who we saw in Rogue One. So there's some more familiar faces from Rogue One coming up. There's an X-wing. It's all getting exciting, isn't it? And we see Luthen. He's talking to Saw Gerrera, and Saw's got all these bits and pieces, and he doesn't look as damaged as he did in Rogue One. It's only 5 years before Rogue One. It's less than 5 years now because there's been some passage of time from the beginning of the series. So it's less than in 5 years. He gets pretty messed up, doesn't he? The Saw Gerrera. But anyway, he's here now. He's got his cadre, and obviously he buys things from Luthen, and he thinks Luthen's there just to sell him some stolen Imperial parts, and he says he's got some stuff, but what he really wants is he wants Saw Gerrera to meet with some other chap. Don't ask me his name. On another planet, because he's got a plan to destroy an Imperial whatever. But Saw he knows this fella, and he says don't like him. He's an oaf, and he's an idiot. But Luthen says, well, if you want my equipment that I've got available, you've got to do it. And he says, well, I'll pay you money. He says, no, it's not about the money. Do this for me, and then you can have the equipment. And he says, no. Says, right, fair enough. I'll go then. So there we go. And we get the impression that there's a lot of factions in the rebellion, and he goes through them, and some are separatists, and some are. He goes through all these names of all these different factions within the rebellion. It's a bit like the Judean People's Front and the People's Front of Judea and stuff from Life of Brian. That's what it reminded me of, and the Popular Front and all that. So that gives you the impression that the rebellions, it's not a united, it's not an alliance yet. It's just a rebellion. So it's going to become the alliance eventually, isn't it? All these groups come together, but it's not there yet. So here he is, he's trying to get him to do that. We don't see Jyn Erso. She's not around, but he'd left her a long time ago, hadn't he, before Rogue One. I think about 15 years, wasn't it? She hadn't seen him before Rogue One, so she's not going to be around in this, as far as we know. There you go. He's talking about all the stuff, and he wanted him for that mission because this other he wanted air support, and as we saw, Saw's got at least one X-wing, so that's what the air support would have been, but it's not happening. Who's this? What's happening here now? See, I forgot what's going on now. Yes, they're in back on Ferrix now. He's obviously some sort of torture specialist. He's been questioning Binks's boss at the junkyard, and he's strapped to a chair, and he doesn't look well. And Dedra says, they tell her that Binks is coming, and says, shall we get rid of him? He says, no, I want her to see him. And then as Binks comes in, there you go, look. And as Binks comes in, Dedra says, well, get him out of here, as though she's been nice, and, that she didn't really want Binks to see her, but she did. She's all just playing a game, isn't she? So they're basically going to put Binks in the chair and, torture her for information. wonder if they'll have a Dr. Ball will come out with all syringes and stuff. Right, we're back on. I've forgotten the name of it already. Narkina 5, something like that, wasn't it? Getting on with their work. Oh, and that's it. That's how it ends. Yeah. Just shows them doing that. That's happening, and that's how the episode ends. Not an amazing episode, but still interesting and still world building. Lots of different environments. Said we were all over the place in this one, weren't we? We were on this Narkina 5 and Segra Milo, however you pronounce it, and we're on Ferrix and Coruscant, and we were all over. So we're all jolly good. So there you go. So that's the end of episode 8 with 9, 10, 11, 12, 4 episodes left. In season 1, will there be a season 2? They've said there is, but apparently people aren't watching this. So, but we shall see. But I did, hang on, just waiting, looking for this. There we go. Get rid of that. Right. Yeah, it was a decent episode. It was still interesting. I enjoyed watching it. We saw a few familiar faces, which were kind of nice. Jingle, jingle those those car keys for people like me. Because I love Rogue One. Rogue One's, I will say again, my favourite Star Wars film. Shock horror. Not Empire. No, Rogue One is my favourite Star Wars film. Burn me at the stake. But so they had the key jangling for me, which worked. So I'll give this one an 8 out of 10. Did quite enjoy it. The Empire's tightening its grip even more now, and is it going to be closing in on Cassian? She's going to find out. Dedra's going to find out, isn't she, that he's going under this assumed name, and that he's on Narkina 5, and but the fact that Melshi were there in the same group as Cassian makes me think: is there going to be some sort of jailbreak? What they're going to do is Saw Gerrera going to fly in with his X-wings and attack, the facility and get them out. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's got me wondering. And probably nothing like that will happen. He'll just get transferred probably and intercepted en route or whatever. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But it's a slow burn, but it's an interesting one, and I'm enjoying it, and I hope it does get a season 2. But we haven't finished with season 1 yet. But we'll leave it there. As I said, 8 out of 10. Solid. It's solid. That's what it is, and it could be the best. Early on, I said it's not really Star Wars, is it? But it is. It's getting there now, isn't it? Early on, it wasn't Star Wars to me, but it's getting there now, and I'm enjoying it, and it's probably the best Star Wars we've seen from Disney Plus. The series, it's up there with The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian's, pretty compared to this. The Mandalorian's, pretty hollow in it, and there's not much to it. It's just fluff in it, really, for the most part. And this is meaty stuff, is Andor, and it's very, very good to watch. So we'll leave it there. So wherever you are, hang on, let me get myself sorted. Wherever you are in the galaxy, look after each other. Until next time, I'll see thee.